It's nice to be back in this room, which means our season's still going on, which is great. We found out last night that we knew we were going to make the NIT. We just weren't sure when and who and where we were going to play, and so we found out that we're playing Friday night at home against a very good Montana State, Big Sky Conference champions at home. So that'll be great. It's been a long season. Basketball season is really long. You start with so much adrenaline and momentum in September, October, and here we are in the middle of March, and we're still going. And so, we played in the Pac-12 tournament 2 weeks ago on Thursday. Feels like a long time ago. So I know coaches and players alike were ready to play again. Feels like it's been too long, and this time period from when your conference tournament ends until postseason begins is a long time. And to kind of stay motivated and stay hungry, it's challenging. But our team's done a good job, and I think we're excited to be playing. We appreciate the chance to host, and looking forward to it.
Can I ask you do I need that? Okay. Seems weird, but let me sing your song. No, when you talk about staying motivated or staying hungry, are there things you can do about that, or is just having a game or some competition out there on the horizon?
Yeah.
As you get closer, does that?
Well, I don't know that it's a good question, because that's the challenge. So I think time off you have to give the players some time off, I believe, after a conference tournament, especially because the way the Pac-12 does it is you have, a solid week and a half, 8, 9, 10 days from when you play until the postseason is announced on that selection Monday. So I think giving them some time off just to kind of regroup, and we had a really disappointing, devastating loss in overtime in the Pac-12 tournament. And so, time gives you perspective and kind of heals wounds. And so I think that helped. And then just trying to make it, we haven't been in there until last night at about 9 p.m. We didn't know who we were playing. So it's not like in practice we can game plan or prepare for who we're playing. So we've kept practices pretty short and sweet, high intensity, but very short, just to keep them kind of going. So they're doing well. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure Friday for us there'll be a little bit of rust, maybe seen in those first couple minutes, but we should be okay.
And so when you gave them time off, how much time did you give them off?
So we played Thursday. And then we practiced. So then we traveled home to Salt Lake Friday, had the weekend. So we practiced Wednesday. So we went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then they had last weekend off. And then we went yesterday, and we'll go again today.
So I noticed on senior night, there was sort of some nostalgia setting in, especially going to miss those girls or the seniors being
Right.
sad about leaving. Do you think that was there any discussion about missing? Like, sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Right.
So then maybe they think there's that period of time where they were off, where they could miss basketball.
Yeah,
Did you
I think
see
so.
any of that when they came back, or just still
this
sort
is a
of
good group.
the grind?
Yeah, that we've moved past that stage. This is a good group, though, and they do love playing together. And, I told the team, to the underclassmen, someday you're going to be a senior. And, so as much as you're fatigued right now and maybe mentally, physically, fighting, like, gosh, I wish it would be over. The seniors don't want it to end, ever. And one day, someday everybody will be a senior. And, you want your underclassmen to treat you the way you should be treated. You know what I mean? Like, and they've done a nice job. And I think playing, this is an opportunity for us to just keep playing, and that's what's fun about postseason tournament, whether it's the NCAA or the NIT. It's just fun at this stage. It's just a chance to compete and keep playing together. And the fact that we're still playing means that we had a really good year, and so this is kind of the reward that you get for that. And so it's not a time to be grinding or feeling like, oh man, I mean, this is all the good stuff. And if a team can't get motivated to play in the postseason, then they should get out of it.
When you came in this year as the new coach, all season long you've been saying, it's a process. The expectations aren't very high. It's a process. We need to get the kids to buy into our system, get our players into this system. Now that you look back on the season and that you've made the postseason play with WNIT, was that part of your plan? Did you think that you would make the postseason?
Again, I mean, I didn't have any truthfully, I didn't have a finish line in mind, what it looked like. I wanted, certainly I knew we had potential, and I believe in these players, and I thought we had, a shot to have a good year like we've had. But it depended on, staying healthy, which we did, and it depended on the players really buying in and trusting what we're trying to do and working hard. And we had some bumps along the road, and that every team in America has those. To good teams, you just kind of roll through that. And you don't, fold or start questioning or, adversity is inevitable through the course of a 7-month season, right? Whether it's a hard loss or a bad week of practice, whatever, you could go undefeated and you're still going to hit those times. And, I think the fact that our team stuck with it, despite, some of those adverse, tough weeks, to me is success. And that was my hope. That was my finish line, kind of like, if we can keep these guys healthy, motivated, driven, pushing through, then I think we've had a good year, and I think we can achieve some great things. But I never had, a win count or postseason or anything like that in mind. But that said, I'm really proud of where we're at right now.
Now, you personally have been to the postseason each of the last 5 seasons, and your current squad doesn't really have a high level of postseason experience. So what do you tell them about the high level of play, and if anything changes when you're playing later in March?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, mostly we just have to keep them. There can't be, I think, in the postseason any drop off in desire. Like how you wanted to win in December and January has to be even a little bit heightened. You got to turn that up. And then, just the focus, desire, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, too, I think you can't have a fear of losing. You can't in the postseason. It has to be, there's kind of, and as cheesy as this sounds, I think the key to winning a postseason is kind of a joy of playing and just kind of being together and kind of having the excitement and enthusiasm that we get to play in this postseason. And it's all kind of the fun, good stuff. I think if you focus on that, you take away from outcome-based worries or stress or whatever, and just let's enjoy this. So that's my mentality. That always has been, and I think I think it'll work.
So you guys have had some offensive struggles here and there, and a layoff usually means the offense suffers.
Can you statistically prove that?
Just
kidding.
No,
I'm
just
kidding.
from watching.
I'm kidding.
But is there anything you can do about that? When you say shake the rust off, usually it's the best.
Well, I think, that could be true. But I think offensively, the Pac-12 conference is no joke. And you saw, second round playing teams and such great coaching and such great players. Teams did a good job of trying to take away what we were doing well. And, we're still a maturing team, a team in progress and a system in progress. And so I think that's kind of what led to that. And I think we've got to, through the course of the next year, I'm hoping next year by this time, we're just a more mature team and a more ingrained program in terms of what we're trying to do and better at what we do, I guess is a better way to say it. So I don't know that it's anything more than that. And then I'm hoping that some time off and actually is, counterintuitive to what you're saying. I think some time off might help us offensively, just kind of get our legs back a little bit. We were tired down the stretch too. We're not, in terms of minutes played, some kids are playing a lot of minutes, and that does affect everything. So I think some rest has done us well, and I'm hoping that we can prove your theory wrong of offense being after some time off.
Potter, Danny, and Paige each received all conference honors, so that's a pretty big deal to have 3 players that earn all conference. So can you talk about the years that they had and how important they've been to your first year success here at Utah?
Yeah, I'll start with Danny. She's the senior. I'm really proud of her. I told her when I got the job, I said, you could be an all-conference player. And, the look on her face was kind of, I think she was surprised to hear me say that. But I saw her play in high school. I knew, and I mean, at Pacific where I was before we played her, when she was just a freshman in the NIT, and I knew the potential she had, and so it was fun to see her. And I felt like, my big thing, as we've talked about so many times, is the process of continuing to improve. And I think Danny's a perfect example of that. Like you talk about process and trusting the process. I came in and asked her as the point guard to play a completely different style than she's played for 3 seasons, and play very differently than she'd been playing. And she trusted it and went with it. And I think she just continually, as the year went on, improved. And so I'm really proud of her for that. And I'm so happy that the other Pac-12 coaches saw that and recognized not just what she does for our team, but how much she's gotten better in the year that she had. And then she was honorable mention on defensive team too, which is great. But she can really, with her speed and athleticism, I wouldn't want to bring the ball up against her. She's got some length and some tenacity there. And then Paige Croson was all conference as well. She really came through. Again, I look back almost a year ago, the first time I worked out with these guys, I thought, okay, this kid has one speed, and it's full speed. She plays so hard. Curious to see, what her skill sets are and kind of thing. But she has really impressed me with just her consistency, and that's the one word I would use to describe her. And I know, I had several coaches compliment her just, before games when you're shaking hands about how impressed they are with the year that she's had and how valuable she is to our team. And then Potter had just a breakout season. And I've said it before, I think one of the coolest things about her season is that she's coming off the ACL where she didn't play competitively for 18 months. If you go back to March of her freshman year, to where, to November of this year, it was 18 months before she put on a uniform. And I think, so coming back from that, and then also new coaches, for her to have the year she had is really impressive. And she and I have already talked that this off season's huge for her. There's so much, as good as she was for us, she can get so much better, and there's so many things that we can work on. I think the sky's the limit, and we're still on, ground floor with her of how good she could be.
Let's see. Reflecting on the season a little bit, do you have a favorite moment and favorite game? Because those might not be the same.
Okay.
And then also on the flip side, one regret or one game you'd like to have back.
Ooh.
You can't say that, Pat.
Okay.
You can.
Favorite moment. I think I wish I would have prepared for this question. I've had a lot of great moments. I think this year has been really fun, and I think it's fun because we've had some success, but also because the team that I inherited, they're just great kids. They really are, and they have a good sense of humor, and I love to, I don't take myself too seriously, and so we've had a lot of laughs, and that's the good stuff. That's the fun stuff. In terms of games, I think beating Cal at Cal was fun. Not just because Cal's a great program and all that, but because we were down, and they showed me something I hadn't seen in terms of just the toughness and the ability to take a hit on the chops and get back up and keep fighting. And that, to me, is something I'm really proud of. I want to coach teams like that. So that was really a great moment, a great game that I can kind of circle and say they showed me that we have what it takes, if that makes sense. A game I'd like to have back, honestly, the BYU game, that still bothers me, how we played. They're a good team. I'm not taking anything away from them. They've had a great year, but we played so poorly that game. In conference, I think, USC at home, we didn't play our best, and Oregon at home, we didn't play very well. So those two, and again, USC and Oregon are very good teams. But I'd love to play them again. I think we were 2 or 3 wins away from getting an NCAA bid, and I think we beat some teams, but we lost a couple where if I could go back, I think just one more shot at it could have been different. But at this point, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I do, coaches, you lay awake at night and you think about those games. Those are the 3 games I'd circle.